we continue to explore this issue now with the TUT Head of Safety and Security Management, and that's Professor Kholofelo Rakubu. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Not out of control, but also not really under control.
Good afternoon. A political statement, the safest statement a minister could ever provide. But again, it's very worrisome because at this point, we all understand the issues at hand, the level of crime. And again, him coming in to be unsure at the moment, because we are awaiting a strategy from him. It's not like a thorough analysis was not done into the crime landscape. We're just not sure why is there no direction at the moment. So he's playing very, very safe because he fully understands the nature, the level of crime and all issues around crime and the difficulty in crime prevention and control. So now, as the country, we're also in limbo because as a minister, we should be able to assess your ability. And that comes with what? The strategies you put forth. Because I remember last month, he made an announcement that he's going to proceed as per the predecessor. And now we understand that the predecessor left us in such a state wherein we needed someone to come in and provide direction, because on a daily basis, we talk crime and crime. We're making it fashionable unnecessarily so. So we don't have a strategy. We don't have a direction. Issues remains the way they were. And we are just here. We're just here because at the moment, we should be discussing which policy is being reviewed to ensure that we address issues at hand. Which direction are we taking? Looking into all the evidence provided by the predecessor, because he has been in for quite some time. He has provided evidence. The statistics speaks volume. Now, what is the way forward to realize NDP 2030? Are we going to arrive there? If yes, how? If no, how? You understand? So we must be having a direction. Which medium-term strategy are we reviewing? How are we now tapping into community safety? How are we now engaging in realization of the integrated crime prevention strategy, for example? Right? Take us there. Don't tell us we are not. Like you are not sure. This is not the time. Tell us, are there any implementation issues? Are there thorough stakeholder engagement mechanisms in place to realize all the visions? Because we are supposed to be working towards 2030. There's no way you can come in and speak as if you have no idea. Come and be authoritative in this era. We need direction as the country. Come in and tell us which policy have you realized is not working and what are your plans around that? Are there financial resources or plans to ensure that you solve long-standing issues in crime prevention?
Well, I mean, while they're busy reviewing strategies and reviewing policy and making all the political statements, the fact of the matter is that out there, police are under attack from very desperate and brazen criminals who are stopping at nothing to commit their crime. At that same briefing, he spoke, for example, about why police have no option but to shoot at criminals who are shooting at them. Take a listen to what he had to say, and I'd like your comment afterwards.
Now, I read a newspaper called Sunday Tribune, and I picked up two things there. There was a phrase that was used, I think, by the journalists who wrote that, talking about trigger-happy police. Trigger-happy police. They don't talk about trigger-happy criminals. They don't talk about trigger-happy other criminals other than those who get caught in sins, in crime sins that form the context thereof. A number of crime sins in the near past in KZN. And then they start raising those. We're in a democratic country. We accept different opinions in whatever situation you find. But I think media need to give police, South African police, space. We can't be complaining about everything.
Now, you have police who are under attack from criminals. And then you have communities that say police don't seem to be winning the war, which the minister earlier admitted to in that clip we played a little earlier. And then you have a media reporting on that, and then you have a minister taking issue with that.
Yeah, the trigger-happy suspects. The minister by now should be well-versed with the current issues that triggers the current debate. We shouldn't be even having this debate around police response to crime. If he was well-versed with issues in the Criminal Procedure Act that provides for this kind of debate, wherein the criminal procedure mandates usage of reasonable force. Yet the very same Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 does not specify what is reasonable force. So are we saying police officers, for example, are supposed to fight AK-47 with a broom? Because when now they come in to say, we have utilized reasonable force, and a suspect came with an AK-47, then we responded as per the suspect's ammunition. Then we are coming in to say they are trigger-happy, is the bullet approach, is the death approach. Yet we are saying respond accordingly. Now, the minister should be leading what? Here where now Criminal Procedure Act review finalization should be speed up so that we don't underestimate the effect of this, because by now we should not even question a suspect or a past individual in South Africa taking a decision today to commit crime must fully understand repercussion that if I decide to go and fight a man and a woman mandated by state to protect communities, I'm not coming back. So criminal procedure should draw that line very clear that reasonable force is when you now take out a gun to take a particular life, right? If now we talk of treason, like you are committing treason, you will not come back alive. So we are having this unnecessary debate, in my opinion, because we've been talking of police killings and then we said what? Thoroughly train them to deal with criminals. Two, we said what? We said what? Utilize intelligence to deal with criminals. Now they are coming back to say, we've utilized intelligence, we've trained. Then we are coming in to say, how did you train? Where did you train? Which intelligence? How sure are you that those are criminals? When they are saying the suspects have committed countless crimes ranging from rape to murder. Then as criminologists, for example, we come in to say why. Loophole, Criminal Procedure Act, give more powers and protection to police officers to protect communities, because what? Crime has evolved. An offender has evolved because they understand these loopholes. They understand that certain institution is going to utilize multiple resources to protect or to look into them being injured when they wanted to commit crime, while that resource could have been diverted to victim assistance. So we are still continuing with what? The gaps and discrepancies within Criminal Procedure Act that are more offender-centered than victim-centered. Otherwise, if that was very particular, we were not to be going to question, why did you kill them? It's a simple answer. We are supposed to take everything to protect communities, right? We are supposed to utilize reasonable force. AK-47 cannot be fought using a broom.
Well, speaking of victim-centered approaches and protecting communities, many communities around the country have now resorted to protecting themselves. You have increases in mob justice and vigilantism. I mean, this year, alone in 2023, so far you have had 1,472 mob justice deaths being registered. And I mean, it's clear the number may go higher, because if you look at 2022, you're talking about 1,894 in that year. I mean, over the past couple of days, I've seen visuals of people, communities taking the law onto their hands, like the one you are seeing there, who was beaten up by community members. And these are people who are not climbing over counters at banks or cash in transit heists or anything. These are people who steal audio-visual equipment at people's homes. These are people who go into churches, terrorize congregants, ask them to lie down and take their cell phones and money. This too is getting out of hands, and people are getting injured and dying.
What a complicated matter. We must be clear. Crime triggers vigilantism. If there was no decision from a particular person to be involved to commit crime, we wouldn't be talking vigilantism. Now, this, upon triggering, it's a form of what? Social control. Right? Because it's simply here individuals in a community taking law into their own hands by doing what? Dispensing their own punishment on alleged criminals who they see as not being caught, right? Convicted and sentenced. We understand that undermines the rule of law. And in most cases, it has led to what? Increased crime level, because as it is a revenge crime. You have committed something, therefore. But again, it talks to what? Lack of trust in the justice system. The very same issues I've just highlighted also perpetuate level of vigilantism, wherein communities don't believe our correctional centers will do enough. Where now communities, it's an expression of criminal justice failure. We don't trust you. We are going to do as we please. Again, it's also lack of action by law enforcement against vigilantism, because some community members are not well educated to even understand that is actually undermining the rule of law. There we're talking of human rights violation, of which communities in some instances are not familiar with that. But then lack of repercussions for participating in such also perpetuate level of vigilantism, because some believe if they are in a group and they have evidence, they have all the right to do so, of which is not the case. So it should be very clear and transparent, and more education should be provided wherein communities can be well versed with what to do in that regard, because clearly, currently, as the law stands in South Africa, you are undermining the rule of law. Everybody has a right to life, and the Constitution as it stands, when you now partake in vigilantism, you are against it. Therefore, you are supposed to be punished. But it talks to poor trust in the police, poor trust in the system, ranging from the police to prosecution authority. So it's a whole debacle. But lack of education and also just lawlessness, pure lawlessness in South Africa perpetuate level of vigilantism.
And of course, violence does beget violence. We've also seen instances where these youngsters, when they recover from those beatings, they go back and find the people who have meted out the violence to them, and it becomes a vicious cycle. Professor Rakubu, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.